Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Christine, and I thought it would be fun to show you this fluffy, beautiful snow that we recently had, just in case you don't get to see the snow. And even though this is absolutely gorgeous and I definitely wanted to include it, I am going to dedicate this thrift flip to springtime. I'm getting so excited for spring, but let's get started.
Games. Do you like to play games, huh? Hey, doll baby. Hey, come here. Hello, hello.
Okay, let's start out with this cute little toolbox. It's all wood. It's got a little bit of damage right there, but I think that gives it some character. And if you saw, I recently purchased this in a thrift haul for only $4. I thought that was a great deal. But I don't use red to decorate, so I thought I would do something fun and fresh and a little springtime. So I picked up this green apple color. It's actually called GINKO, but it looks like a Granny Smith apple to me. And I don't know that I'd necessarily paint a large piece of furniture with this color, but a few small items around the house just to give a punch of color I think will be super cute. And this will actually be very practical for me. I want to use it to put all my paint brushes and art brushes and art supplies and just everything I use to paint with. I want to put it in this toolbox and hopefully it'll keep me organized. I ended up doing 2 full coats on the inside and out just to make sure to cover up all that red. And then I grabbed an old stencil kit that I purchased months ago. In fact, a few of you might remember this little cow. I used it on a farm cow clock a while back. That little guy right there, he's cute. And I'll show you a few of these in case anyone's interested. But it's got a few farmhouse signs. And then I ended up using that sunflower today. That's why it's got some paint on it. And that little piggy we're going to use today as well. A few more signs. It's got this little goat. You can kind of see the size next to the size of my hand. So it has quite a few little stencils in there. And I'll find the link and put it below in case anyone's interested, because I think it was pretty inexpensive if I remember correctly. But you actually don't even need to buy an expensive or inexpensive stencil for that matter. I'll give you another idea in this video if you just want to start out with an easy project without buying any kits or sets. But just the act of being creative is so healthy for us. It releases all those awesome endorphins. So I'll give you another idea here in a minute. So I picked out this cute little pig leaning over the fence and this little sunflower. And again, I just need to inject a little springtime into this. I got these stencil brushes at the dollar store and they come in a pack of 3. I grabbed my paint and just make sure to unload your brush onto a cloth, or I've got a paper towel right here, just so you don't have any bleed through or messes underneath your stencil. And then peel that off really carefully. And then now I'll do this little sunflower. And I'm actually going to use 2 colors on the sunflower. I'll do white in the middle. And then on the outside, I definitely want to use yellow. And I'm still using the same sponge brush with white on it. I'm just mixing it with a little bit of yellow. And it actually adds a little bit of color variation on that flower, you can see. almost the impression of a little shading, and I think it turns out super cute. And then I grabbed some of these plastic yogurt containers and put all my sponge brushes and paint brushes and just art supplies in there to keep organized. And then on the other side, I stenciled with the Farmhouse sign. And I think this is going to be super cute and hopefully will keep me organized. Okay, for this next project is this cute little tray I got at the store. And I love a good tray. They can be used for so many things. It needs to be cleaned really well before we start painting. But I'm including this thrift flip. I cannot draw, trust me. I'm clearly not an artist. But hopefully I can inspire you to get to the thrift store or the dollar store. And for very inexpensive, don't get overwhelmed and spend a lot of money on a big stencil kit or transfer kit. But honestly, the mere act of being creative, whether it's painting or drawing or sanding, it's proven to release all these healthy endorphins in our brains. And it's so worth it. So hopefully this is going to inspire you to give it a whirl. I cannot draw, remember that. But I'm going to paint this with pink. Actually, the color is called Miniature Rose. And then I'm going to do a little drawing on here, like I said, so bear with me, but just to show you how easy it can be and hopefully inspire you to do something. I'll wet distress the edges first with a little washcloth. And then I found this picture online as my inspiration. I love little birds, and I thought even I can do this. And I grabbed a bunch of fun, bright, springtime colors from my art supply. And I always try and stock up on these when they're on sale and add them to my stash so I have them. And then I just put polka dots all along the bottom of this tray in different heights and sizes with this little round brush. It could not be more easy. And then I took just a little marker and tried to copy the feathers and the beak and these long legs that are so fun. And this would be great for a gift to put on a kid's nightstand with their books that they read at night and a little glass of water. Or even a baby shower. You could stuff it full of diapers with a big bow. Or even put parchment paper down with some fun, colorful cookies or macaroons. But there's so many things you can do with the tray. And you got to release all those awesome hormones for just a couple bucks. And then I ever so lightly sanded the top just to distress it a little bit. And I actually love how this little tray turned out. So hopefully you'll give something a try as well. This next one, actually this isn't even a thrift flip, but I like to include a good deal whenever I find one, just in case anyone out there is interested. We recently went to the antique fair in Round Top, Texas, and it was just the small show that they had in January. But in each of the stores and booths, they had vases and crocks for sale. And in every one of them, they had these beautiful flowers displayed. And they were in almost every store, so we just assumed that it was a local florist that was supplying all these really pretty flowers. But we talked to one of the shop owners and she said, nope, they are faux flowers. And I'll show you a better close-up here in just a minute so you can see just how real they look. But she gave us all the information on where to order them. And with winter dragging on, I just wanted to order them to remind me that springtime is right around the corner. Actually, you could use these all year round. But right there, you can see just how real they look. And they come in 3 packs of 10, and I thought that was a really good deal. So I just threw mine in a vase. I'm gonna put them here in my kitchen. I think they're bright and cheerful. And I'll put the link below in case anyone out there is interested and needs a little bit of spring. And I think they're fun and cheerful to have in your home. Okay, for these next ones, I found these little coffee table coasters at the thrift store. And I think they were originally Hobby Lobby, it looks like. But it doesn't even have to be this type. I always see coasters at the thrift store. Other wood ones, there's even ceramic tile coasters. Just make sure if they're ceramic that you sand down the top a little bit so the paint has something to adhere to. And then I used chalked paint in linen white. And then I want to put some pinstripes or some grain sack stripes on these, and so I'll go against the little grain of the palette just for my little stripes. So I'm just grabbing some painter's tape and lining it up, and I press it down really hard so there's no bleed through. And then another little trick, you can always paint the original color. In this case it's white, and just lightly go over that stripe first before I add my other color, so that way there won't be any bleed through. You could then do some little farm animals on these. I found this cute little inspiration picture if you had stencils this size, but I don't, so I'm just gonna create these little pinstripes and then put some antique vintage crock numbers on top. And actually, I don't even have the real vintage numbers. I found these stencils at the thrift store for like $1 or $2, but I'm just gonna use what I have. But you could also Google online antique vintage crock numbers and even trace them on here or print them out and use that black carbon paper to transfer them on here. So many different ways you could do it. And these are very practical. They always come in handy when you have guests over to use for their drinks. And I think they turned out super cute. Okay, for this next one, I found this ragged old wreath. This has definitely seen better days, and I knew with a little TLC it would match perfectly with this plate that I have. So I just proceeded to cut off. In fact, I think this originally was a DIY because it has this little plastic zip tie on it. But I proceeded to just try and reshape all these little wires. And since it was missing some wires, I knew if I double wrapped it, it would just make it look a lot fuller and you wouldn't notice that there were some stems missing. So I'm just trying to fluff those out, and then I'm double wrapping it so that it'll look a little bit fuller and it'll also match the size of my plate a little bit better. And then I grabbed the zip ties that I purchased at the dollar store, and I just thread them through the middle and wrap them tight in back so that you can't see them on top. And then again, just reshaping it all along the way. Clip off the extra edges of the zip ties. And with just a little effort and a little TLC, this looks good as new. And wreaths can be styled so many different ways. I can put it on this little riser with a candle in the center, or hang it on a peg rail just by itself. Or even by a shelf. It looks so cute. But for me, I wanted to use it to frame out this little plate with the bird in the center, just to style it a little bit differently, and I think it looks absolutely adorable. Next, I found this really pretty vase at the thrift store. I only paid a couple dollars for it. And it's not actual terracotta. It's more of a plastic or maybe a fiberglass material. But look at all the texture on the side of this. It is perfect for what I want to do. It is missing some of the moss on top, so I'll need to paint a little bit up there to hide that as well. But I thought I could paint it and give it a little bit of a refresh. I want to paint this a really light blue, almost a French blue. And so I grabbed the color Gingham. It's actually kind of similar to Annie Sloan's Duck Egg, but I love just this light blue color. And then just paint this everywhere. And I don't necessarily need full coverage. I just want to get this on there as good as I can because I'm going to do a few layers as well. But I did have to pounce and kind of stipple in most of those areas to get inside that texture. And then once all of that was dry, I just took a tiny amount of white linen on the very tip of my brush and then just lightly dry brushed everywhere around so that the paint would just hit all those high points. And then once all of that was completely dry, I just grabbed my clear wax and my dark wax. And the only reason I'm using these two together is because the clear wax just makes it a little bit easier to work with the dark wax. And I just rubbed that in all of those low points. And then with a lint-free rag, just wiped off any excess. And I love all of that texture. I think it looks so beautiful. And then actually I found these florals at the Dollar Tree. Sometimes they have pretty good florals. You have to kind of dig and look for them. But these are pretty comparable to ones that I purchased at Michael's a while back for a lot more. So I just cut off all of these stickers. And I'm not a big fan of the little plastic leaves, but I'm going to tuck those down low and they will come in handy in hiding the holes in the moss right now. So they actually will come in pretty handy. And I love all of that texture and that light pale blue. I think it is so beautiful. And again, these flowers just remind me of springtime. I'm getting so excited for spring. So for now, that is it. I have so many thrift flips to show you again next week. So stay tuned for those. But thank you so much for spending a little bit of your day with me today. I greatly appreciate it. I hope you'll give me a big old thumbs up, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It sure does help my channel. And I hope the rest of your day is absolutely awesome. Bye-bye.